So to answer the age-old question of should you breed a dog on her first heat? So I got some information from a doctor of veterinary medicine, which I think is really helpful. It kind of helped form our opinion of what we do here. So stay tuned. You guys want this episode of Breeders' Hacks. We're going to finally answer the age-old question of should you breed a dog on her first heat? All right, guys.
I got you right now. What's going on, bully fam?
So to answer the age-old question of if you can breed a dog on her first heat, right, I'm going to be showing you guys something that helped me form my opinion on if you should or not. Don't just take my word for it, but this book on how to breed dogs by a doctor of veterinary medicine, Leon Whitney, right? So they articulated it very well, and I'm going to just show you guys. First season mating, right? And what this doctor of veterinary medicine went on to say is that when it comes to breeding a dog on their first heat, so far we have no evidence that that it does any harm to the dogs. So then another thing, for example, is people try to put human characteristics onto the dogs and say, well, if a 13-year-old girl would have a baby, it would be immoral. But for a dog on their first heat, it's a similar situation. But what Leon Whitney goes on to explain is basically that, a young child that has their first period is you cannot relate the two to a dog. When a dog goes into their first heat, their body will not go into heat unless they are ready to conceive and actually have puppies. So the next thing, for example, is they go on to even say that there seems to be no reason for not breeding a female at the time when she's ready, even if it's her first heat, because Leon Whitney goes on to say that some of the breed enthusiasts believe that developing a litter of puppies tends to give the female a better spring of rib, and since their standard calls for a rib spring, you would want to breed the dog on the first heat. So what they're saying is some breeders will go on and actually want to have a breeding on the first heat, so that then, like I said, it'll give the female a better development of her rib spring. And then really in the last portion of this, it even goes on to say that in Boston Terriers, some breeders that contend with the Boston Terriers, they like to breed them on the first heat because it tends to make their pelvises more palatable, and thereafter are better able to whelp litters without C-sections. So basically what this doctor of veterinary medicine was basically saying is that they think that it actually may not be as detrimental as we may think it is, So for me, for example, I just take the information that was explained in this book, and you guys should get this book, How to Breed Dogs, by Leon Whitney. And for me, I believe that as long as the dog is a year old and she acts mature enough, I'll do the breeding on the first heat. Some dogs don't get their heat, they only get their heat maybe once a year. So by the time I wait for her second heat, she might already be 2 years old. So if she's mature enough already, meaning she doesn't act like a puppy and is very immature, then I'll do the breeding at a year old. If she's very immature, then you have to expect that if she does have puppies, she may be a very poor mother. So that's something else you got to be considerate of. And like I said, some breeds, that's what they aim for. They want to do a breeding on the first heat so that then they believe that it can help with the forming of their pelvis or whatever the case it may be. They have their own theories and so on and so forth. And this book, yet again, this is coming from a doctor of veterinary medicine and what they took and put in this book essentially. So for me, that's, to sum it up, what I do. I'll breed on the first heat, but as long as the dog is at least a year old. Anything less than that, say the dog gets her first heat when she's 6 months, personally, I wouldn't breed the dog, but hey, apparently there's people who do. So I think it's all contingent on whose theories and whose information you subscribe to. So I just shared with you guys a little bit of what kind of helped me come to my conclusion, and even then I have a little bit of difference, and like I said, I'll wait till a year old and whatnot. But this was actually very interesting, because I didn't even know some breeds seek to do that for the sake of the development of the pelvis, or thinking that it'll add more spring to the dog, or whatever the case may be. So anyway, guys, I hope this information is helpful. I hope it's useful. Drop a comment down below. Let us know what you think. Do you breed on the first heat? Do you purposely skip it? Some people skip the first heat, and they really don't know why. That's just what they were taught to do. So I question everything. So drop a comment down below and let me know what you guys think. All right, guys. I'll see you guys in the next episode.